The hood shut. So that rear end's come out. That's from a 60, 70-ish and up Chevy. We're putting a Dakota rear end in it. Scott's done busted his head twice on this. I've done hit my head in the tip of this once. We're going to be cutting out this floor to make a gas tank. I don't know what you'd call it. We're going to be putting a gas tank back here, so we got to cut the floor out and everything. That's about the only bad rust on it is in that wheel spare tire holder. Gosh. It's full of chunkiness. We took 5 leaves out of each one of these springs, hopefully letting it lower the car a little bit more, because we want it dragging, dirt. We haven't pulled off the front end yet or anything. We'll do that after we get the rear end changed. We're both a little concussed right now. But, yeah. Watch your head again. We're going to need helmets by the time we're done. Well, we got the rear end sitting there. It's got to go 3/4 of an inch out on each perch. So we got to cut the perches off, re-weld them. There's the neighbor and his motorcycle. Woohoo! We have the front end cut off. Front end's over here. I meant the front frame cut off. Over here, working on clipping it. We'll have to move these front body mounts. And we're going to have to cut that frame down quite a bit. It's smoky in here. It's the old front clip with its weird tubular 40s control arms. Lot to cut, lot to move, lot to bend. Very smoky. This is where the fun's going to begin. We're going to have to cut the perches off and move them out. So I figured what the best thing we could do is we're going to cut the perches off, flip them back onto the leaf springs, then adjust our rear end to where we want it. Then we can weld it back on. Well, while I was not able to get out here this weekend, or shall I say I just didn't come this weekend, worked on my truck, Scott cleared out the headliner, which was absolutely jam-packed full of walnuts. And now you can really see how clean that floor is. All he did was vacuum. No wire brushing or nothing. And when he got out of it, the actual car had flipped up in the air because all the weight is now in the rear. So we got it sitting up too high. That's fine right now, because we need to get the rear end first, then drop it on its rear to see how far it drops, because we don't want it kinked in the center right here where we're gonna push the frame into and move. If we push it in, it's kinked like this because the rear's not sitting where it needs to, and the front will be too high, because we're gonna have to figure out, where our exact level is, which on these trucks they're mostly level right there. And the reason they're level right there is that's where the center of the frame is. So if that's level, this frame's level, we're good to go. But gotta get this rear end in first, and that's where it all starts. Leaf spring hangers. Yesterday we got the 4-inch drop blocks in the back. Got the rear end beautifully centered. way better than it was. And it's looking pretty good. Unfortunately though, Scott wants it even lower, which is going to be tough because I'm pretty sure 4-inch blocks. Let's see. Here's some old blocks we had. Let's see. 3-inch. So this would make it 4. He wants it like, well, according to him, he wants it about 4 more inches lower. I don't think it's going to happen. Not without bagging it. And he ain't going to spend that kind of money. But I don't know what we're going to do yet. It needs to be lower according to him. But we're going to get this front end welded on first. And the reason for that is that motor and trans probably weighs 12. So without putting that in the clip, welded on, we'll never know how low the front actually is. And right now we got it sort of kicked up in the air in the front. So when the weight's on, it'll sit down. Now we're going to be doing some step notching on this to sort of slide it back in there. Get over here and show you. You see we filleted open that frame rail. We're going to try to get this frame rail to touch that support. And then bend the box back over to where it's straight to the side of this. So when we weld it, it's real strong. This outside bent one, we're going to pie cut and bend it in till it's touching the inside of the frame and weld it to that. And then we will plate the entire top triangle right here. So there's a lot to do, and we got to get on it. But it's real hard to get our exact measurements because, one, we don't have the front end on it, but we know it's 36.5 from that door jamb. So you hook the tape measure up here, pull, find to your mark. While this is pushed into your spot, that's where you need to be. So hopefully we're going to get this in, tacked into place as much as possible. Make sure it's all straight, 36.5 on both sides. And then we're probably going to put the front end back on and make sure our wheel gap is good as the back. So that fender opening needs to be dead nuts in the center of that hub. It's a lot of work to do these clips, you know. A frame swap is literally pull the body off and set it onto a different frame. We didn't want to do that because, one, we're not using the floor pans and firewall and stuff from the Dakota or a Ram or anything like that. Ram won't work, but the reason also is this has a great floor in it. The frame's awesome. And, you know, everything bolted up already. It might end up being a tad bit shorter time to do it this way than it is to do it a complete body swap, make your mounts, firewalls, floorboards, 10 miles of welding, you know. So we'll see in the end. But as for now, I'm going to cut this, get it slid in, and see what it looks like. We're somewhat where we need to be. But the thing is, we've actually gone in a little bit further than we wanted to. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the front clip back on, and we're going to see exactly where our tires line up in it. Now we know that the front end is pretty long, but also at the same time is like the tires go to the front and then there's nothing after that. And what I mean by that is you can see these cuts. Once it's past the tire, there's like 8 inches of room. That's it. So I cut them off, and that'll allow us to slip the front end back on. Now we're not tacked or nothing, but it's holding itself in there pretty good. All the pie notches and everything worked out perfect. We've got it pushed all the way forward to the point where the new Dakota frame is touching the old supports, just like we wanted. Now, these other parts of the frames, what we're going to do is, as I said, pie cut. We're actually going to bend them out to where we can get to welding the back side of the new frame real good. Then we're going to pie cut it and do it to where it touches the new frame. Just like the factory frame had it, it came into an A, but, you know, we're not going to be able to do a perfect A like it was. So we're going to try to get our best on there. This is plastic. It's just hanging there. It's garbage. It'll get took off. We keep all these little pieces of frame and stuff till the end, like I cut off, because we can make our boxes out of a lot of that. And what I mean by boxes are you know, fish plates and stuff to make it solid. Now, the one thing is, right now the car is up a little bit higher in the front, and we did that on purpose. Again, 1,200 pounds, about roughly. 360 iron heads, iron exhaust manifolds, big long transmission. You know, it's heavy, weighs a lot. So we wanted to make sure we have plenty of room to drop, because if we get it level now and we put it in, it could be way too far down. So you give it a little rake, then when it comes in, it's level. But that's basically where we're at. I'll show some more once we get the front end on. Do it like it. Looks like that frame's got a lot of grease on it, you know? I mean, you can't see.
All right behind me.
Oh, tell me when you're ready. I'll go kill the lights. Yeah. Yep. Oh, fan fell back there. Gosh. Ah, my balls. I thought the rear end of the car had hit the ground already. Shoo. Yeah, you need another 4 inches.
I like that when it's rolling like that. Let's just build it like that.
Yeah, gasser.
Yeah, man.
I'm sure there's people that buy it. They're buying them right now. It's just, we've picked up stuff and it's shook more than that, and it wasn't even this heavy. Or I don't know. Well, now you can at least really see what you're working on. So today I am going to show you what some straight up craziness looks like. That is a sky crane holding up a car so we can weld the bottom side of the frame. This you do not want to do if you're not crazy like us. Got the tops all welded and plated. Got my plates made down for the bottom going up. And I'm about to weld it. Well, I'm going to tack it in. Make sure it's good, just the way Scotty O wants it. Then we'll hammer it up, finish weld it. And after that, we should be ready to start playing the will the motor and transmission fit game. If I don't step on a bunch of steel and stick it through my foot again. But it's all coming up good. This is very dangerous, but it's also OSHA approved. Let's get back at this. Well, after we got the clip welded on and everything, we need to get it all clean. We're going to replace upper and lower ball joints. But we figured power wash it all. So now you'll really get to see, what it really looks like. This side I just put some purple power on. Scotty's doing the power washing, and you'll really get to see how it pops here in a second once he starts power washing this side. We're getting the top, firewall, all that stuff good. You can see we boxed the crap out of that frame down there. It'll be good and strong. We're going to try to get the motor set in most of the way today, but you never know what comes up. As for now, I'll show you when we start power washing this side. it does definitely pop the blue back out for sure.
Yeah, in places you can think of blue.
No. Yeah, you couldn't even see that a second ago. I almost wonder what some of that rust converter would do. That rust cutter. Yeah.